The first time I reached into a hedgerow and ate nightshade berries, I was 8 years old, and completely certain I knew what I was doing. Those small, dark, woody nightshade berries tasted sweet, mild, almost like nothing at all. My grandmother found me about 30 seconds later, and the look on her face communicated very efficiently that something had gone catastrophically wrong. Turns out I had just eaten a handful of woody nightshade berries. I did not die. I also did not do that again. What I did carry for the next several decades was a blanket fear of anything with the word nightshade attached to it. That became a significant problem for anyone who grows tomatoes or potatoes in their garden, because nightshade is not one plant, it is a family. And that family is also where tomatoes come from. The Solanaceae family, the nightshades, contains roughly 2,400 species. Most people, when they hear the word nightshade, picture something gothic and dangerous creeping along a stone wall. They do not picture the bell pepper they chopped for dinner last night, or the potato sitting in a bag under the kitchen counter, or the eggplant they have been meaning to cook since last Tuesday. All of them are nightshades, all of them sitting in grocery stores right now, completely unremarkable. So why does the name carry so much weight? Because a handful of species in this family are genuinely, seriously dangerous, and those specific ones worked hard to earn that reputation. The most infamous is Atropa belladonna, deadly nightshade. It grows across Europe and Western Asia, produces berries that look almost invitingly edible, and contains a class of compounds called tropane alkaloids. The two most significant are atropine and scopolamine. These compounds work by blocking acetylcholine receptors, the receptors your nervous system uses to regulate heart rate, digestion, and pupil size. Block enough of them and your heart accelerates, your mouth dries out completely, your vision blurs, and at sufficient doses, your central nervous system fails. During the Renaissance, Italian women used diluted belladonna extract as eye drops to dilate their pupils, which was fashionable at the time. The plant's name means beautiful woman in Italian. The gap between a cosmetic dose and a lethal one is not as wide as you'd hope. Deadly nightshade isn't alone in this dangerous category. Jimson weed, Datura stramonium, produces large trumpet-shaped flowers and spiky seed pods, and contains the same tropane alkaloids that make belladonna so hazardous. Henbane, Hyoscyamus niger, rounds out this trio of genuinely dangerous nightshades, with similar alkaloid profiles and equally unforgiving toxicity levels. And here's the part that matters most for anyone spending time in a garden. The toxicity in nightshades isn't random or accidental. It's a defense system that evolved specifically to make animals stop eating the plant. The alkaloids solanine, tomatine, atropine, and nicotine taste bitter. They disrupt nervous systems and they make whatever is chewing on the leaves feel bad enough to stop. That's completely standard plant chemistry. The inconvenient part is that human nervous systems respond to many of these compounds in exactly the same way insect nervous systems do. We're not the intended target, we're just collateral. Solanine is the compound most relevant to gardeners specifically. It is present in green, unripe tomatoes, in tomato leaves and stems, and in potatoes that have developed that telltale green skin from sun exposure. A medium-sized greened potato can contain around 200 milligrams of solanine, and symptoms begin in most adults somewhere around 25 milligrams. That math is worth sitting with for a moment. Green tomatoes are a special case that most guides handle badly. Ripe tomatoes contain almost no tomatine. The compound degrades as the fruit matures, which is why fried green tomatoes have been eaten for generations without incident. The quantities in a normal serving are not high enough to cause problems in healthy adults, and cooking reduces levels further, but the leaves and stems are a different situation entirely. Tomato leaf tea is something people attempt. It is not a good idea, and the reason it is not a good idea is solanine, not folklore. Now let us talk about why this family contains both things you eat for breakfast and things that can put you in a hospital. It comes down to domestication. Cultivated tomatoes were selectively bred over roughly 500 years to reduce tomatine and increase sugar content. Wild tomato species still growing in Peru and Ecuador carry significantly higher alkaloid loads. and domesticated potatoes were similarly bred down from wild Andean ancestors, with solanine levels high enough to cause real harm. Even bell peppers went through this process. Their capsaicin levels were bred down to produce the sweet varieties we grow today, though hot peppers retained and concentrated this particular nightshade alkaloid. Human agriculture has essentially been a long, slow negotiation with nightshade chemistry, trading toxicity for palatability one generation at a time. Deadly nightshade never went through that negotiation because nobody found a food use worth the effort. What they found instead was essential medicine. Atropine, derived directly from belladonna, is on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines. It is used to treat nerve agent exposure, to manage cardiac rhythm during surgery, and as a primary treatment for organophosphate pesticide poisoning. The compound that makes the plant dangerous is the same compound that reverses certain categories of poisoning, and that specific detail does not appear in the common nightshade mythology, but it probably should. The berries I ate in that hedgerow were woody nightshade, Solanum dulcamera, not deadly nightshade. Woody nightshade contains solanine and related alkaloids, but at concentrations that cause discomfort rather than fatality in the amounts a child can consume. My grandmother did not know that distinction. She called poison control, and the operator, who had clearly taken this exact call many times before, was calm to the point of being almost clinical about it. What the nightshade family actually is, underneath the folklore and the Victorian Poison Cabinet associations, is a lesson in the difference between a name and a chemical. Calling something a nightshade tells you almost nothing about whether it is dangerous. What matters is which compounds are present, in which part of the plant, at what concentration, and whether 5 centuries of selective breeding have quietly reduced those concentrations to something a person can eat without incident. The tomatoes on my counter right now are nightshades. They are also completely fine. My grandmother, if she were still here, would acknowledge both of those things as true, and would still probably prefer I stop eating things out of hedgerows.